odd, 34 rand odd, 34 cents odd against the US dollar as well. An interesting mark there, having seen it go from around 13 rand 30 earlier on last week as well. Martin Harris from IGSA joining me in studio today as we unpack that market look. Broadly up today, as you said, it seems like an interesting market flow though. Whatever happens, you know, out in the US or Asia definitely reflects what happens here. But a lot more so today if you take a look at nearly 1% up now for the all share.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Arabile. Really what we're seeing is we had a strong earnings reports coming out of the United States last night, as well as a strong Asian session this morning, and that's reflected in the bounce back on the JSE that we see today. Broadly up, especially we're seeing financials firmer today, mostly due to a slightly stronger rand this morning. So we saw the rand strengthening from around 13.45, now it's at 13.32-ish. So that's also boosted the financial sector and the banking stocks.
Yeah, those banking stocks themselves are of key focus, particularly this week. Yesterday we saw ABSA. Today, Nedbank. Your thoughts?
Yeah, so it's been an interesting week for the banks. Nedbank today posted a decent set of interim results, and we've seen that stock jump up, reached around 200, got a 272.35 for the high of the day, and that is really from a positive result from their investment in their Pan-African bank, EcoBank, based out really trade in 13 different countries across West Africa. They have reversed their losses. They wrote off a lot of bad loans from the previous financial year, and so they saw themselves going from a loss of 1.2 billion rand now to a profit of 123 billion. So that has boosted Nedbank tremendously. They own about 16% of that EcoBank. What we see now with Nedbank is they've had a 27.5% increase in headline earnings per share. And so they now have reported earnings of just over 6.5 billion rand.
Yeah. Do you think the sustainability of that mark is there, though? Do you think that they can continue to see growth, which is not just based on their EcoBank investment, which obviously is kind of an anomaly in this sense?
Sure. What we are seeing is that if you look at the local divisions of Nedbank, they really are just ticking along. So we're seeing quite subdued growth from their local banking division. They're ranging between 1.5% to 2.5% growth, and some divisions have declined. So really what we're seeing is that the low growth locally is a symptom of the weak economic environment in South Africa, and so we definitely might just see this as a bit of a flash in the pan for Nedbank, and they're going to need to jack up local markets. They have increased their customer numbers, but they really need to get out into the market a bit more if we want to see this kind of growth continue into the future and not just be a one-off spurt from the turnaround in EcoBank.
We'll certainly see some more earnings come out in the rest of the week as well. The likes of MTN also set to release their interim earnings too. But in terms of economic news, we had manufacturing production come out. It is an increase of 0.7%, but that is slightly slower than the month before.
That's right. So the growth is slowing. And what we are seeing is that the inflation coming through from petrol prices has impacted on the manufacturing numbers. In terms of what is going up, we still see food and beverages increasing, typically from inflation, as well as the transport sector has also increased. But in terms of things that are going down, we've got manufacturing of automobile parts and other industrial levels that have just reduced by 4.5% across the board, so a bit weak. And we really want to see that turn around as a positive sign for the South African economy.
I mean, that, as you said, it probably serves as some sort of a proxy, considering how big manufacturing is for South Africa's GDP. This mark doesn't bode well for South Africa's growth quarter on quarter.
Not at all. And I mean, this also comes on the back of seeing our unemployment rate rise to 27.7% year on year. So for the quarter, so it's really not a good sign to see slowing growth. Fortunately, it is still slightly positive, but we need to see that reverse and start to beat estimates.
Here's a mark that we really would probably be interested in: $74 odd for a barrel of oil as well. Do we see the effects of the US and their sanctions on Iran and all of that filtering through into this oil price?
Definitely. I think what we did see today, though, is that the Brent crude per barrel touched $74 just above again today. It has been trending in that region, and so it is a bit range bound. But what it really means is that we anticipated the sanctions coming to Iran, and so the market did price it in. But the effect of having, the Iran, which is the third largest producer of oil inside OPEC, now having a constrained supply to certain nations, has now increased the price of oil. What we are likely to see, what the expectation is that Saudi Arabia and Russia will pick up that deficit in supply. For local markets, though, high oil price is really bad for our economy and for small and medium businesses as well as for the consumer. But companies like Sasol will benefit greatly from a high oil price of $74 a barrel. I think from the last financial year, their average price was around $63 a barrel. So it's sort of a 17.5% increase in the price of oil for a company like Sasol. So we'll see revenue boosted for them.
Martin Harris, thank you so much for your time, analyst there at IG South Africa. It's a green day across the board, including Bitcoin, which went up 1.7%, sitting now at above 7,057 there per dollar, $1 rather, for a single Bitcoin. That's a look at your markets for now. We'll be back with more tomorrow. Nompumelelo and Zinga coming up right after this.